Hello television fan, we've got a lot to do, need to hear our thoughts on bands. Midas 2 will try to express his thoughts himself, but how many now you've seen and show yourself? Well, spoil everything, spoil everything. Coming on with the series, Mark outside 91. Spoil everything, spoil everything. We're not even a real podcast anyway.
You're right, I really shouldn't sing the theme myself. I'll change next week. Hi TV fans, and welcome to Spoiler Alert, the podcast that somehow fails to mention X-Files, Get Smart, and Round the Twist when it's in the catchiest theme songs of all time. Today we're talking best vehicles, and full disclosure, Stu is currently jinxed and refuses to buy me a Coke till after the podcast, so he won't be talking this week. So to carry the show by myself. Getting the obligatory Simpsons reference out of the way first, there are a lot of cars I know from sight belong to a certain character, but as far as which car stands out as the best in the history of the series, I was very close to seeing Mr. Plough. And I wish Stu could talk, and then we could each pick one, because Bart's skateboard probably fits the category. But that iconic moment is also 30% the Gorge, 30% Homer, so I have to go with the joke that was 100% the car. And that's one Homer designed himself for befriending a possible relationship with Herb Powell. And that is, you guessed it, the Homer. The whole build-up of the episode is what is the car going to look like, and it is a disaster. Of course, Homer's priority was a giant cup holder, so I probably shouldn't have trusted his above reproach odorous brother. But it's got those ridiculous domes of silence with muzzles for kids, and the engine makes people think the world is coming to an end. You can never find a horn when you're mad, so the Homer comes with 3, and they all play La Cucaracha. Oh, it has a bowling trophy or something at the front. Sorry. The cars are in like every episode of other shows I'm going to mention, and I won't remember all the details that I have about the Homer, but you know, I've seen a lot of Simpsons episodes from the first dozen seasons, like hundreds of times, and oh, by the way, this episode is one of them. I think I saw the Baby Translator episode first, and I still didn't prepare me for how bad this car's going to look. Moving on, I guess. Okay, the A-Team. Can't talk about iconic cars without mentioning the Bandura. It's just BA's always driving, because, you know, you ain't getting on a plane. It definitely is like the, 5th character of that series, 6th. How many people are in it? It's one of the main characters of the A-Team for sure. It's one of the first things to think of when you think of that show. After, like, you know, Face, BA, Hannibal, Mad-Eye Murdoch. There's another one, wasn't there? Other than Bandura? Maybe not. Anyway, I always just found hilarious that, like, these fugitives that are, you know, in the underground, they just drive around in such a conspicuous van. And I wish I could think of a segue, but Supernatural, and this is like, Baby's probably my favourite car in fiction, outside the DeLorean from Back to the Futures. Dean's obsessed with her, obviously, and she's come to life a couple of times, and like Swan Song is probably my favourite episode of that show. Probably one of my favourite episodes of all time in any show, really. After we've got My Screw Up, we've got from Scrubs, it's only moved twice from Simpsons, and maybe I'd put the Swan Song as 3rd place, right before Half Measures from Breaking Bad, I reckon. But I'm not here to list favourite episodes of shows, so it's such a backstory just for a car. It's just kind of genius. One of the reasons season 7 is so kind of dismissed in the mythology of the show is because they were without Baby for so long, and that's one time actually made sense for them to be without Baby, because, you know, if they're driving around in an Impala, and it's not exactly the kind of everyday car you'd find, so kind of like that. But from a plot point, it was like, I really miss Baby, and you can tell Dean did do. One of the greatest episodes in the last few years was all about Baby, like shown from Baby's perspective, and that was probably my top 10 episodes as well. Okay, changing gears. No pun intended, or pun intended, whether you like that joke or not. we're moving on to Magic School Bus. Now, whenever I saw the show as a kid, it was always the same episode, and it's the one where they go into the kid's body, and it just freaked me out that there were kids walking around their friend's stomach lining off, walking around into their lungs or whatever it was. I mean, sure, they'd pick up some terrible disease. Like, I hope none of them had open sores in there. Anyway, I trust Otto more than Ms. Frizzle to drive me to school. He might get me killed on the way, but he would be doing his job, albeit badly. Ms. Frizzle just deliberately miniaturizes a student, and I'd actually even has a bus license, but she can't ask the bus driver to drive them because they have a conscience. Okay, I'm going to mention a few shows I haven't seen but know the cars because they're that iconic. That would be Knight Rider. Now, I've seen enough parodies of KITT to know that the show is campy as fuck, and I like a lot of camp. It has charm to it. But I have no urge to ever watch that show, so I just thought I'd mention it because it's a freaking talking Pontiac. Another show I really saw was Dukes of Hazzard, because it looked like every episode just had the brothers jumping in through the windows of General Lee and racing away, and jumping over a ridge in the road. But that may have just been opening credits for I know. Regardless, I know that the Dodge Charger, without ever seeing the show, so to call that one iconic as well. But we're going to try and steer clear of things we haven't seen because, make us think we don't know what we're talking about, which, let's face it, Stu doesn't. Okay, Ash vs. Evil Dead is a fantastic show. It's like a gory sitcom and I love it. And that Camaro, the Oldsmobile, is just goes right along Ash Williams there, and I don't know, like the whole cross country they had in season 1. You can really feel that character, like even back in the movies, was part of him. But like once it, but the TV show, it just really, I don't know, it sums up Ash in a nutshell. He's the same guy as always been, just never going to change. I'm so mad that show got cancelled. It's probably tied with The Good Place as far as funniest show on TV. Going back to shows I never really watched, I don't know what order I'm doing these in, but the Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine, another, driving around the van solving mysteries is what that show is about. So if driving around the van is part of the synopsis of the show, it's going to be kind of intrinsic to the show. But that's another kind of I know, I've seen a couple of episodes, and that van is just ridiculous. Like, there's a car I've seen driving in Brisbane that's just painted like Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine. It's just like, you can know it by sight, because it's just ridiculously painted, and I don't know what. It looks like Shay must have done it when it was stoned or something, because it looks like nothing in that paint job. Take the Ghostbusters van any day. Is the Batmobile cheating? Because that's probably better known from the movies, but the Batman 66, I mean, the Batmobile Batman 66 is just probably more most iconic. Just that spurt of fire coming out of the bats and firing out of the bat cave at the start of every episode. And I think every couple of episodes, one of the bad guys would steal it because it's the worst protected Batmobile in the history of the character. The Batmobile in the animated series is also quite iconic as well, but I just haven't seen that show in a long time, so I'm not sure what differentiates it from the ones from the movies and things. But obviously, it's animated, so I can get away with a lot more. Seriously, dude, just get a Coke from the fridge and just chuck $5 in there, and I'll call it even. Because I'm going to see carrying this thing by myself. So yourself, I mentioned Teen Wolf twice in a row. Styles' truck just never worked, and it really played on that car won't start during horror movies to the hilarious extreme. It's another thing, you picture Styles, you picture that truck, and also, you kind of laugh because he's the funniest character in the show. Or Believe is probably my favourite, but moving on. Breaking Bad, the Crystal Ship. It's just, I don't know whether there's that. I think the show got better when Gus came in and had the whole super lab. But as far as where they cooked, I always prefer the RV. That's super just all three characters, Walt, Jesse, and the RV are just all out in the desert, stuck there. It's probably one of the best. They tried to do a similar one when they did the one in the super lab, which is them and the super lab, and it just The Fly. But it was a good episode, but nowhere near as impactful, I think. And it was funny. As long as we're talking characters defined by their vehicles, I've got to hit you with a Dexter. The slice of life. That boat is, I don't know. I love that show, and most of that show is just dumping bodies off the boat, just taking bodies out. I don't know. It's something weirdly, macabre and peaceful about it at the same time. So is the name of the freaking boat. So it's one of the most kind of weird parts, but it's one of the things about the finale I really liked. I think the finale is kind of not underrated. I think the finale is a bit too much hate. It's definitely past the show's prime, but if that show had ended with that final shot of Dexter and the slice of life just drifting out into the middle of a hurricane, I think it would have been the perfect ending of that show. But they had the whole had to tag on 5 minutes at the end that was kind of screwed up everything, really. I think it was very dark, depressing, kind of very bitter, I guess, ending, but it would have been such a powerful scene, that one. Okay, look. While everyone at high school was watching the OC and Dawson's Creek, I was watching Veronica Mars and Roswell. I'm sure it's just as soapy, but that's freaking aliens in it, and that's why I watched the show. You know what, I'll make it the series spotlight this week. I've got thoughts. Max's Jeep is worth mentioning for this topic. Maybe being sad when they had to destroy it. While we're at it, I can't picture Veronica Mars without a camera sticking out of a LeBaron. Both much better examples than what I'm about to talk about now. But regardless, I did go back and hate watch Dawson's Creek, and so I got a lot to mock. Underdome is probably the only show I enjoyed hate watching more. When we get to the most unlikable main characters, I'll talk about Dawson more, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Pacey's Boat, True Love, I believe, which is kind of a storyline I got invested in against all odds. As melodramatic as that was, I remember it being a kind of sweet metaphor, but can't remember any specific scenes, so onto the cooler types of ships, and spaceships. Instead of showing space, I'm going to give it a shot. But we'll start with the biggest omission in my pop culture knowledge, just to rip the band-aid off. And this is why I need you guys sending me some suggestions, because I haven't seen every show, and I've seen a lot, but I haven't seen every show in existence. So I've seen every Star Trek movie, old and new, but I've never seen a single episode. There's a few of the series on Netflix, and I'm hoping to start the OG before it gets taken down. But they keep bringing out new stuff, so I'll have to find time. Daredevil's coming out tomorrow, so... but the Enterprise is an iconic ship, and there's a scene in Beyond I wish I could bring up, because it's truly heart-wrenching. But this is strictly TV, so it'll have to wait until an episode on films based on TV. Though if we can only pick one, I guess it's hearsay not to discuss Wrath of Khan. Anyway, we'll talk about it when we get to it. Enterprise, from what I've seen on the movies, awesome, but I can't compare it to the TV show I've seen. So, Planet Express, Futurama, I don't know, I kind of love the conceit of that show, really, because it's just people delivering packages and just getting to ridiculous adventures that are completely over their heads. And it's just this is just a delivery ship, and it has so much to it. The episode where it falls in love with Bender is it's just hilarious. But there's so many great moments in this episode where they're staring out at the stars, and So time keeps on slipping, and tries to destroy the message that made Leela love him in the first place, and wipe it from existence. Like a lot of stuff's happened on that ship over the years. I'm kind of surprised Wernstrom didn't have like a rival ship, Planet Super Express or something, just to mess with Farnsworth. Serenity, obviously, possibly my favourite spaceship. It's just, the design is awesome. The rooms are great. There's like that. I guess do they call the bridge in Firefly? I don't remember. I did a rewatch of it recently, but I don't know. It's like confined quarters, but it's not claustrophobic at all. It's kind of, and my favourite episode of Firefly is Ariel, and that has a great scene at the end where Mal has Jane locked out on the airlock, I guess, and that scene kind of sums up Serenity as a ship to me, I guess. It's just that kind of can divide characters and can bring them together. But I think Out of Gas is the iconic, like, what everyone must think of when they think of Serenity. It's just that love at first sight between Mal Reynolds and, I think Serenity will be the love of his life. I mean, he's definitely fallen hard for Inara, but I think Serenity is definitely his first love. I'm going to go to the Wave Rider on Legends of Tomorrow. It's one of the most, probably the biggest control room I've ever seen on a spaceship. It's like I guess it's a time ship, so I guess there's plenty of room to move around in space and time. But I quite like it. It's got that great AI. What's the AI called again? Sorry, the new season hasn't started yet. Gideon, right? Gideon was, so she's kind of very like a kind of sarcastic a lot, which I quite like. And sarcastic AI is it's like it reminds me a lot of, it's like a more cheerful version of Marvin from Hitchhiker's Guide. There's not much that there's that healing pod, and everything is much. It's like, it's a very huge ship. They've got like a prison on there. I don't really understand the layout of the ship, but it's local. It's very cool. This is a tough one. Red Dwarf has 2 ships, and they're both great. And I have to pick one example. We've got that one example rule for a reason, and I have to go with. Go get Starbug. It's just the design of Starbug is ridiculous. It's just this green little bug, obviously. I love it. It's so cheesy, and but I don't know. You kind of miss it when they're in the seasons that don't have it. I guess Red Dwarf has more to talk about. It's the biggest ship, but I don't know. It's just really fun to see. It's like somebody just go pop down a planet and just Well, gotta go TARDIS from Doctor Who. It's just that big on the inside line. Either unless you want to put a ball in my head, or I miss it when it's not there. It's very I don't know. It's a push and pull, that line, but I love it. Like it's just a ship that literally redefines itself with each new Doctor. Like so as a character redefines itself, a ship redefines itself, and I think that's quite cool. There's that, because I remember quite another episode. It's like it's much bigger than you'd think as well. It's an episode where they're like walking for days, I think, inside like the hallways of the TARDIS, trying to find their way back to the main pod. And I mean that's another one where the Doctor's true love is the TARDIS. No matter what companion they're with, It's never gonna take the place of the TARDIS, I don't think. I've scored down Bebop in Galaxy 1, but I can't think of any big features that make them stand out from the rest of them. As far as spaceships are concerned, I think they're both... I don't even know if I'd call Final Space a good show. It's an okay show. I remember the tool desk that I'd always be working on in Cowboy Bebop, but it really stands out as a ship that I can think of. But what else have I got here? Shout out to Sasha from Scrubs. That's Kuda was put through the ringer. The Arrested Development stair car. That's even better. I think the best moment for that car is when it was parked next to the prison, and the inmate just jumped over the fence with it. It's just always funny to see. Sorry, I just got a text that was wildly unprofessional. It's just always funny to see it driving down main street surrounded by regular cars. It's just like the absurdity of the show. It's got a great cameo in Captain America Civil War as well, where it's just at the airport, like it's clearly been leased out to get people onto the planes. A boarding stair. Okay, what did I say was Serious Spotlight this week? Right, Roswell. Does have one of my favourite first lines in a TV show, which is, so yesterday I died, then things got really weird. And I think that kind of sums up the show. I love the weird parts of it. The show is inconsistent, I'll grant you that. I definitely prefer the more ridiculous episodes, where, the comedy ones, or Evil Twins, or Alien-centric. And all the relationship stuff was in the background. But, I granted, it's a teen soap that has something for all kinds of teens. I was just pleased it wasn't all, melodrama all the time. And when sometimes melodrama was more sci-fi based, I guess. I think definitely the third season's a lot weaker. Can't think of any, because as opposed to Dawson's Creek, which we mentioned earlier, I can't think of a single episode that stands out as anything other than just I don't know, be a classic episode. Dawson's Creek fans probably have ones like, that episode where Pacey joined the beauty contest is a classic. I don't know. I guess that's I can think of on top of my head. So. But with Roswell, I can think of plenty of episodes that stand. Like the Christmas Carol is probably one of the best Christmas episodes I can think of. There's that. The finale is really good. I don't like the third season, but the finale is. Has a couple really great scenes in it. I quite like. I think Vegas episode is very funny. It does nothing to do with anything. But the Alex episode is heartbreaking. There's one where Max comes back from the future. So you can think of a lot of really kind of things that are really, really cool. And then there's other episodes where just nothing really happens. Or I prefer when they're hunting down mysteries and they're on the run or. But occasionally there's just episodes that are let's go to prom, and it's yeah, or Liz will get a new boyfriend, and the boyfriend will be some sort of boring character to make Liz feel good about herself. So it's yeah, okay. I get it. You gotta have sex cells. I just read Captain Heigl, which I was Captain Heigl's good. Let's see where this goes. And then she was nothing good ever again. I never watched Grey's Anatomy. I've watched plenty of the generic rom-coms, and I've forgotten them completely. She was in the new season of Suits, and she was just playing, she's just trying to be Jessica, and she was nowhere near as good. She's far less subtle as well. Although I think I'd have... I saw Dudu played Max in a movie, Truth or Dare this year. There's a whole... Sure, it's a great unintentional comedy. It's not a good horror movie, but it's a great unintentional comedy. And there's a line in there. It came out... Truth or Dare came out in 2018. Probably, at least a decade and a half since the show ended. And there's literally a line where he says, "I know what it's like to be 19 and lose someone close to me." It's like, dude, you are nowhere near 19. You are, like, you have to be 41 now. And it's just that they laugh out loud at that scene. Yeah. I've seen a lot of Sherry Appleby shows as well. Just I'm like, oh, it's the girl from Roswell. See what she's doing these days. And it's because I watched like Life Unexpected, which is an okay teen show. But more recently, Unreal, which I think is a very good show, at least for the first few seasons. And I think it's great. Like, because I think you'll find we'll rarely bring up reality TV when discussing things. So you'll notice we didn't mention whatever type of limo they use to bring the contestants from The Bachelor up to the house each season, because I've never seen that show. But Unreal like really pokes fun at that genre a lot, and I quite like that. Just like very satirical, like over the top, like they're murdering people, they're killing contestants, literally. They're a lot more subtle than that, obviously. Any other thoughts on Roswell? Think of? I can think of like specific episodes. Just like as far as the series on a whole. It was relatively funny. It was relatively well paced. But it probably doesn't hold up very well. I haven't seen it in 10 years. But I did actually buy DVDs and rewatch them, so definitely like the show. I just don't know if I'd still like it now. There's plenty of other shows to be able to use the alien idea now to better effect. I guess they'd be able to use more CGI, and as opposed to just all the aliens look like humans. I think. So yes, big news. We have our first email. Hopefully it's not just a suggestion for this week's Serious Spotlight, because I just did that. Now let me open up here. Here we go. Alright, now let's read this email, shall we? Hi Spoiler, well that's not my name, but thank you. Thank you for creating a Google account. You're welcome. Here is some advice to get you started with your Google account. You're in control, choose what's right for you. Manage your privacy and security settings at any time in your Google account, where you can sign up for privacy checkup reminders, take security checkup, and more. That's useful. Doesn't really have anything to do with the podcast. Access Gmail on the go. Okay, so talk about Gmail now. Alright. With Gmail for Android or iOS, you can get one-click access to your email, real-time notifications, and a lot more wherever you are. At least I know how emails work. I'll try and see if they've got anything relevant to the actual podcast here. Discover Google products. Replies to this email aren't monitored. What's helpful? I'll reply to this podcast. I read the emails out loud. If you have a question, try the Help Center or post it to the Gmail Help Forum. When my team, another expert, answer your questions. No, see, this is how it works. You're supposed to ask me questions. It doesn't have to be at TV. You can ask me any questions you want, really. David bands or whatever, or my favorite movies of the year, but I don't know why I'd be asking you questions. Unless you have podcasts you'd like me to listen to, I'd be happy to listen to that. Enjoy your new account. That's from the Google Community team. Well, thank you, Google Community team. I'm not entirely sure what you think I'd get out of that email. I kind of feel silly for reading that out loud, because I don't have anything to sort of respond to there. But please keep your emails coming. If anyone else out there would like to let us know a vehicle we missed, or give an example for next week's spooky topic that we might not have seen, or you just want to hear us discuss a show you love or hate, email us at spoileralert@gmail.com. I did try to set up a Twitter this week, but it got deactivated halfway through signing up. I guess the inventor of Twitter is a bit of a spoiler-phobe. I'll tell you who that was, but I'm not that far into the website yet. We have 2 listeners so far, which is 5 more than I expected, unless that was just Stu setting up 2 fake accounts to like us, which would be more than a little pathetic, but this is Stu we're talking about. Yeah, but you wish you'd brought me a coat now, dumbass. Anyway, you can hear more from Stu in his podcast at the Flusk Podcaster. where he and a guest review a time travel movie every week. That actually sounds like a good idea, Stu. You basically come up with podcasts that nobody wants to listen to, so that this would, it sounds good in comparison. I totally understood that. Next week, our Halloween episode. What a chance The Simpsons comes up there. Couldn't possibly, right? How's the bus driver? Bus driver man.
Can you name the truck with four-wheel drive? Smells like a steak and seats 35. Canyonero, Canyonero. Well, it goes real slow with the hammer down. It's the country fried truck endorsed by a clown. Canyonero, Canyonero.
Hey, hey! The Federal Highway Commission has ruled the Canyonero unsafe for highway or city driving.
Canyonero. 12-yard long, 2 lanes wide, 65 tons of American pride. Canyonero, Canyonero. Top of the line in utility sports. Unexplained fires are a matter for the courts. Canyonero, Canyonero. She blinds everybody with a super high beam. She's a squirrel, squasher, deer, smacking, driving machine. Canyonero.